Axons Unleashed.
G'day everyone, Robbie Turner here. Welcome to another episode of Axons Unleashed. You're going to love this session. It's a little bit out of the box. It's not like a normal guest that we got coming on here, but I'm joined here with a really good mate of mine, Pete from Black Wolf Consulting, brother. Thanks so much for joining Axons Unleashed.
No worries, Robbie. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Good. So we're talking to you guys from the Gold Coast, and I guess, a bit of a bottom line up front, Pete, you and your lovely wife, Tanya, she joined us on, Daniel, remind me, probably episode 2 or 3 of season 2, I think, when we're talking about females and leadership and everything. So Tanya come and joined us, and she joined my wife Tamara. That was a great session, and she's like, "You've got to get Pete to come and have a chat on the podcast as well." So,
big shoes to fill, hey?
Yeah, mate, she's a firecracker, Tanya. There's no doubt about it. You and Tanya run your own recruiting consultancy firm here on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
But you're national as well, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. So basically, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne. So,
awesome.
But it all sort of originally started in Brisbane, but then we decided to move to the Gold Coast maybe 6 years or so ago, and it's never looked back.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, love it. Hey, so what we're going to talk about today, ladies and gents, we're going to talk about, get to know Peter, of course, a little bit, but some of the things that I'm starting to branch out into now is to veteran entrepreneurship. Pete, you told me something at lunch I did not know. What's the term entrepreneur mean?
Actually means risk taker. So
risk, Daniel, you didn't even know that was the case.
A lot of people don't sort of realize, but yeah, I think it's Latin for risk taker.
Yeah.
So, as we do.
Yes, mate. There's no doubt about it. When you start your own business, you grab all of your chips in life and you put them in the middle of the fucking table and go, let's play.
Let's play. Yeah, of course.
What else do you do? So, mate, I'm really looking forward to understanding why you started a business, how you started a business, some of the challenges, some of the wins, some of the losses. We had a good little chat across the road over lunch. And, of course, I guess the overall thing, ladies and gents, I want you to, if you're a veteran right now and you don't have a job, listen to this episode, because that's exactly what Pete and Tanya specialise with to enable you to do that. So what do you say? Sydney, Gold Coast, Melbourne, Brisbane?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So mate, it's there's plenty of veterans around the country that live in all of those locations. And as I was just sort of musing, walking up the stairs to start this episode, I went, I bet there's dozens of veterans right now around the country that have recently left the military, or maybe they had a job, they don't have a job anymore, and they're probably sitting at the couch on home, they're feeling sorry for themselves, they've lost their way, they don't have a direction, they don't have any job, they don't have any money, and we know the fucking spiral where that ends up sometimes.
Yeah, and probably not even knowing how valuable their skill set is, right? And how to transfer it into the corporate world.
True. So please listen to this podcast, ladies and gents. You're going to learn a shit tin from this guy. I can see you're a little bit quiet so far. We'll bring the energy up soon. But mate, this guy, ladies and gents, you've been in business longer than I have, and I can't wait to sort of share some of those things that you've come across. So
well, it's 10 years this year, but I'll sort of delve into it. So obviously, Tan and I went and started the business in the middle of a GFC, which was really full on back in 2013. And we just decided we could do it a little bit better than where we were working, had similar sort of skill set. So we decided to sort of go out there and give it a crack.
Yeah. And
obviously it was blood on the streets. It was a horrible, horrible time to have a business. But, we were really customer focused, and we kind of backed our ability to do what we did. And we just sort of focused on that experience and what's what you guys do here. And we had some pretty good successes, but it probably took like 12 months or so for the ball really to start rolling.
Bit of traction, yeah. Let's unpack that for a little bit. So were you and Tan seeing each other? How long have you been married or together? Careful, she's going to be listening. Don't fuck this up.
No, 9 years.
Okay, so well, you guys were. How did you guys meet? Tell us that story. Now this is not a PG podcast. You can tell us the real story if you want.
The real story. So we were working at a recruitment company, and I kind of met her there, and she was doing her thing and just brilliant as she did. And I kind of rocked in, being my antisocial self and not wanting anything to do with anyone, just wanting to work. And we just got on really well. So we kind of thought the same. And obviously you met Tan. She's different. She doesn't think the same as your typical female entrepreneur. She's got a really amazing skill set and thought towards
very engaging, very very expressive with her eyes and the way she talks and everything. Yeah. She absolutely is.
And most of the industries that we've worked in have been quite male dominated. So she's really kind of played with the big boys, and she thinks differently, which has just been great for us. But yeah, we met there, middle of GFC, as I was saying, and our current employer was trying to get us to sign people up to like retained, sort of membership. So they're paying like 20 grand a month. And I was like, how can we go to our clients in the middle of a GFC and say, hey, we want 250K a year off you? And they were really sort of ramming that down our throats to do. And I was like, oh, I can't do this, right? So I was like, I'm out. And I left, and she left maybe a month after. And we're like, let's just do it. So we put it all together, packaged it up, spent all our money. We didn't really start with any seed money or anything like that. I think we had like maybe 5 or 10 grand between us, which went like that so quick.
Of course.
Bought laptops, phones, all that sort of stuff, and just kind of got into it, working out of a bedroom, and away we went.
Similar to what me, Tamara and I did. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? When you are no longer have a job, and you want to be that risk taker, when you realise that your time and your effort and what you do here on in is going to be the determining factor about whether you succeed or not, it's fucking scary. There's no other term that I can think of.
The buck stops with you, mate. And, we're in a time where an employer would throw an ad on Seek and they get 300 applicants. And I'm sitting there trying to sell them recruitment where they're going to pay 10, 15, 20, 25 grand. So you have to be pretty good at your job, right?
Yeah.
And every opportunity that you did get, you'd want to fill that job. So it wasn't like it is today where, people are just sort of ringing you up and harassing you to get them candidates because obviously everyone's so busy. It was dog eat dog. So, and you had to be faster and produce better quality than they could get through their internal teams. And just like provide value, right?
Yeah.
Because they can write a $600 Seek ad, or they're going to pay a recruiter $20K. And I mean, I have to be good enough and provide such value that they go, oh wow, that guy Pete found us is awesome.
So you've got the applicants, you do all the filtering, you do all the, you sort of filter through the 40, 50 people and then you come up with the top 3 and then provide a recommend. Like how, just to give us a bit of because a lot of people in the military, I certainly did not know what a recruitment firm did.
Yep.
You don't have to know. In the military, you live in a bubble. You've got a secure job. My little saying is, if you've got a heartbeat and put a uniform on, you get paid every fortnight. That's it. So, but certainly in the real world, it's not like that. So what does a recruiting firm do?
So, mate, we do it different. A typical recruiter is they'll come see you, they'll write an ad, put it on Seek, and they'll try to feed you people that would apply to their ad probably faster than you could process them yourself. So we run more of an executive search headhunt model. So it's a little bit more strategic. I often joke with my clients, I'm like, throwing an ad on Seek, it's like throwing a fishing line in the water.
And you hope that you get a bite.
And you hope you get your Marlin. I'm like, we're going spearfishing. So you tell me you want to go get a red emperor, like I'm spearfishing for red emperor. And that's what you get from us. So, and typically you'll get 3 candidates and they'll be as close to or on the mark that you want. So you can be super specific with what you're after, and we can get you that skill set to fit into your business. And obviously we can sell your business as well, which is what a lot of people don't do. Typically I will ring people who aren't looking for jobs. I will sell them your business. And they're like, oh, wow, that sounds really, really great. Will go for an interview with that company. They had no intention of applying for any jobs or leaving their jobs, and they were happy in their day-to-day. But all of a sudden, you've got someone in your corner really sort of selling that opportunity, and all of a sudden, you've got someone who wasn't actually looking.
Boom.
Which is where our value is, right? That's, I feel, in my opinion, really amazing people are typically working with someone already. The ones that apply through Seek, they're kind of those, they float in and out of jobs. I find the quality isn't as good as people that are already retained. Please,
ladies and gents, take it from me. Full disclosure, Black Wolf Consulting has helped Axon hire 5 people, one of which is not here anymore, but that was circumstances beyond our control. Tamara and I went through countless hours and spent way too much money and got fucking nowhere looking and interviewing and just trying to find that red emperor or the Marlin through the 40, 50, 60 people that would apply. I think like office manager springs to mind. And it was just painful. And then people are experts at doing interviews and they just turn out to be not the right fit. That's as nice as fucking term as I can come up with.
It does.
And and then you're back to square one, mate.
But honestly, mate, 50 people, right? How many hours did you spend doing that?
Too many.
Go do your job. Do what you're good at doing. Like, we don't double in recruitment. Like, we do recruitment for a job. We do it for 50 hours a week. Like, we're not you know, we're not your typical business owner that goes, a business owner that goes, hey, I'm going to throw it out and seek. I'm going to try to hire someone. And they might hire someone once every couple of months. You know, we literally do it every single hour.
Of every single day.
Yeah, of every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you get good at what you practice at, and that's what we do.
Yeah, so we've got Daniel here, our executive producer, Noah, our marketing manager, Sophie. So you did not come in through that way. He's like shaking his head. He's like, don't you fucking put me in that, bloody mate.
I'm the Marlin.
Oh, you're
He's the Marlin, he's the Marlin.
and then we've got Shania that's with us as well. But mate, it's been really, really valuable for us. Like as all of our listeners are aware, if you've been following us for a little while, we've been able to recruit those ex defence members that have come into the business through our own network, and that because we've got that connection and we've got that sort of relatability with them, that makes it a bit easier. But when we're talking about specific skill sets that only civvies have, or generally only civvies have, and if they're not client facing, they don't need to be ex-defence anyway, so that makes it a bit easier. But yeah, mate, we've been very, very thankful of the services you guys have provided us.
Oh, happy to please, mate. As long as it's all going well. So Tan's mostly responsible for those, but
Yes.
yeah, I know. I always hear good things, so it's. I'm glad it's going as good as it is. But you guys have such a great model, right? And I love that you hire ex-defence people because they actually buy into what you do. And I was talking to you a bit earlier about, you know, salespeople, and you know, you guys aren't actually selling something; you're helping someone to buy.
Yep.
And just that responsibility and that accountability that you and your staff have to get the absolute best possible outcome for someone, because you guys have, you know, you've traveled together, you've you know, served in military together, you know, eaten and bled and fought and cried and all that sort of stuff together. So there's such like an ingrained responsibility for you to get the win. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not selling to some client who you've never met. Like, you're selling to that brotherhood, and I love your model. I think it's a great business.
Yeah, and mate, 70% of all of our business for the last 2 years has either come from repeat business or direct referral.
Yeah, which means you're doing a good job, right?
Well, yes, it absolutely is. But our reputation's on the line, like to the nth degree. You know, because in my experience, if Aussies have a bad experience with someone or something, they'll tell 30 of their mates to go, don't go near those guys. They're fucking dodgy.
Yeah.
Don't go see that movie,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. Don't use that mechanic. But if you have a really good experience, you might tell 3 or 4 of your mates if it comes up in combo.
Yeah.
So there's a real dynamic there that we've spent tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours and spent, you know, time and time again on phone call, email, Zoom, trying to bend over backwards with our service providers and our clients to just smooth things over and give people a decent outcome.
But mate, what you were saying to me before, like, you know, 70% of your business being referrals and repeat business over the last couple of years. The last couple of years have been fucking tough. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking COVID.
You're in the height of COVID,
You're talking, you know, supply chain issues. You're talking, you know, interest rates. You're talking
cost increases, everything.
Yeah, viruses and shutdowns and all that sort of. And you guys have still done so great. So you got to think, like, what does that mean? Like, what have you focused on to get such a positive result in such a shit market? Like, you've obviously done something right. And I think it's because you keep the focus on the people. And most people they focus on the money, they get transactional, service drops, they fall over.
Yeah, true. Tell me about the traction that you and Tan started getting with your own firm. And out of interest, I don't know this genuinely, what did you call your business when you first started? Was it Black Wolf off the bat?
Yeah. So
wow, and where did that come from then?
So we were doing a sales training module, and one of the sales profiles was the lone wolf, and that was me, funnily enough. And when we went out on our own, I was like, you know, I'm kind of like the black sheep, but, you know, don't want to call it black sheep.
No,
that's a pussy name.
Correct.
But we can call it Black Wolf. And it just really resonated with us at that point in time, because we were the underdogs. You know, we were, we're trying to do something on our own. Lots of people weren't on our side, and they thought, they're going to fail. They won't do well or anything like that. So it was just a really, it was kind of like a fuck you to a whole lot of people, basically. And anyway, we've recently rebranded because while Black Wolf was super successful and really well known through heavy industry, people don't know what it is. They're like, oh, Black Wolf, what's that? So we've rebranded to a company, Recruitment Corp, which we've had for a couple of years.
Right.
We just had it sitting in the background.
That's crystal clear.
Follow the bouncing ball, right?
Yep.
So, and it's actually had some really good traction with a lot more sort of high-end corporate, clients. So, really well received for like legal and accounting and finance.
Great.
And it sounds better.
All
right?
the white collar stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And Black Wolf is really well known through like mining, engineering, construction, all those blue collar type roles.
And to be fair, like that's probably more the defence person that gets out.
Yep.
Like, they're used to getting their hands dirty. They know how to drive a truck. They know how to, do logistics or, whatever it's going to be. So I've no doubt, aircraft engineer, etc. Mechanic.
I love it. Ex-defence.
Yeah.
I placed a logistics guy into a logistics and warehouse role for a global company.
Great.
And he's doing deployment and redeployment and organising the supply chain all through Australia and Southeast Asia. And he's just an absolute weapon, right? Because he's perfectly organised and everything is just brilliant. So, blows the civilian guys out of the water.
Yeah. So did that person contact you, or the firm that you were trying to recruit said, hey, look, we need this person, and then you had someone on your books that sort of fitted that role, and then you just brought them together?
Mate, so the client contacted me, and I love defence guys, right? So he's like, logistics. I'm like, straight away, I'm like, defence person.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I actually went out and actively found someone and put him in front of the client. The client was like, oh, Pete, where has this guy been?
So the client for you is the business owner that needs a person to be an employee.
Correct.
Just so we're clear. Yeah.
So my product is people. So I often joke with Tanya, I'm a human trafficker. So people are my product. And you're kind of like a real estate agent where you work on the sellers and the buyers side, right? So it's that sort of a model.
Bringing people together.
Bringing people together. Adult matchmakers for the business world.
Love it.
Yeah.
What were, so you guys started the business together?
We did.
And then how long into your business sort of journey did you have your first couple of employees?
Mate, so we probably slogged out the 2 years by ourselves. So just her and I, laptops, phones. And
just boyfriend and girlfriend at this stage?
Yeah.
How was that, by the way? How was that? Because as you know, Tammy and I run the business here together. And and you guys now run it together as a married couple.
Yeah.
So how was that sort of dynamic?
Mate, the sexual harassment policy gets blurred every now and then.
Mate, if there's just the bloody both of you, you'd be on all the time.
Mate. And mate, management meetings are also difficult, right? So we sometimes disagree on certain things. So I'm probably a lot more cutthroat and brutal than Tan. And obviously, Tan, she's beautiful, right? She's very like caring and giving and wanting to train and mentor and develop and all sort of stuff. And I'm kind of like, well, let's just get the person who's good and make them better, where she's happy to kind of get people and make them good. And obviously, progress them to better.
Do you know this interesting that, and Daniel, you might not even know this, but it's the opposite with us. I want to train and I want to mentor and I see the good in people. I want to give them a chance.
Yep.
Tamara is that she takes care of all of our team and our staff like that.
Yep.
But when it comes to hiring and firing, she's like, nah, fucking they're gone. It's funny how the dynamic works. Not up front, I've got to say, but it'll get to a point whereby she is done, and when she's fucking done, the guillotine comes down and you're done.
Mate, if you don't love them at the start, I mean, do you really want them? I mean, you got to think you spend 40 hours a week with these people. Like you got to, and especially you, high energy, close knit environment. What you do, they really have to buy into what you do.
Yeah, belief.
Because it's important, right? Mm-hmm. We sort of touched on that when we were chatting over lunch, like belief in the model and what you're trying to achieve. So, I mean, if you don't get that warm and fuzzy feeling with them right off the get-go, when it's like honeymoon period, right? When it should be at its absolute highest.
Yep.
What's it going to be like in 3 months or a year or 2 years time?
As people sort of get complacent.
Yeah.
Take things for granted.
And flip side of that coin, if you do give someone a go and the wheels start wobbling, do you want to keep them in a business where they can potentially do that damage that you were talking about, like give that customer a bad experience? Or do you kind of give them a chance and kind of mentor them a little bit or a lot? Or do you just go, hey, they're not going to make it?
Yeah. I'm just thinking out aloud here, team. Those of you that are in the military right now that joined at a very young age like I did, you've never had a job in the real world, this is what it's fucking like. It ain't like that in the military. You can't get sacked from the military unless you've done something very bad.
Yeah.
All right? You get performance managed, you get posted over here. And there are some underperforming people in the military that have done 20 years. And every single person listening to this right now will be like, yep, I know someone like that.
Yeah.
All right? And maybe people thought that about me. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But that's not the point I'm making. But in the real world, team, if you are not performing, if you are not showing up, if you don't show belief and you show a level of care and respect to the business that you're in, you will fucking get fired. Or you get performance managed in accordance with the Fair Work Act. You'll be given warning 1, warning 2, warning 3, and you're done and you don't have a fucking job. And I'm not being harsh, but it's the real world that we live in.
Oh, 100%. Don't get me wrong. So if someone struggles with capability but they have a fantastic attitude, happy to put the time and money into them to make them better, right?
Of course.
But if someone is disengaged, not buying into a culture, they're not showing up, they don't want to be at work, these are the typical people that would wake up on a Monday and want to go, oh, fuck, I have to go to work, it's Monday, or Friday's my favourite day of the week,
Yeah, can't wait to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. My worst nightmare as an employer is to just think about my employees going, oh, I don't want to go to work today. And I'm just like, oh, what? Life's too short. Like, go do something else. If you absolutely can't stand it, do something else, right? I want you to come to work, bounce through the door, just love it. And, oh my God, what time is it? It's 3 o'clock. The day's already over.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get the result. And then obviously all your, revenue and money and success and all that sort of stuff sort of flow through from that. And obviously you get the career advancement, because obviously if you love what you do, typically you'll do more than what's asked for you. Your boss notices that, right? So if you're going over and above and you're like, oh, fuck, that guy's going all right. Like, look, he did this, like, you notice it. And while you may not say something to someone, like when you do have some sort of leadership position or some sort of position grows from your company growing, who are you gonna sort of go to?
Yeah. Most of the time in the military, it's a time in rank. Like there's a seniority thing. You're like, oh, I've been a corporal for 3 years, so when there's a promotion to sergeant, I'll probably get it because I've been a corporal the longest.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking work like that in the real world. You can go from zero to hero quite quickly based on your attributes, based on your attitude, based on your outputs. And just be a GC in your workplace and you'll be fine.
Performance-based, mate. Everyone's rated on what they can contribute to the team.
Yeah.
So.
Having said that, though, would you agree, as a recruiter and now as an employer, once you cracked your business model, once you cracked your target market, once you cracked the way that you service your clients and you get those repeat customers, what's the most difficult thing to manage?
Oh, mate, staff, definitely.
People.
Yeah, I'm horrible at management. I'll first admit it. I'm very blunt and my delivery is quite raw, and you either love me or hate me. Tan is very nurturing and she's very accommodating and understanding, and she has high empathy and all that sort of stuff. So I choose not to manage my team.
Yeah.
So I kind of just work in the background and do what I do, because I'd be like, hey mate, you fucked up, this is what we need to do about it, blah 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 blah. Where she might be like, okay, so this is what we could do better and this is what we blah blah. And I'm kind of a little bit too
Don't get me wrong.
short.
Some people will respond really well to your direct
100%,
feedback, and
100%.
other people will be like, I need to go cry in the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything in between.
Exactly. So I find my sweet spot is kind of like that 27-year-old and up respond really well to me. Anyone sort of like mid-20s and below, they're like, oh, he's a dick. So,
Yeah.
But
Fucking hate that guy.
yeah. Why is he such a prick? What's wrong with him today? But honestly, it's just the way I speak. I've dealt with like heavy industry for a long time, and my messaging is like sort of short and sharp and to the point. And there's not a whole lot of fluff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where I fall over, and I try to work on it.
But the good news is people in the military love that stuff. We use acronyms. We use RATEL, which is radio telegraphic procedure. And there's clarity and brevity. Boom, boom, boom. There's no delivering a set of orders in the military with ambiguity attached to them is the fucking worst nightmare when you're the one receiving it.
Yeah,
Same deal. My direction and guidance here in the business, I try to be as crystal clear as possible, even though I'm still perfectly imperfect at it, as we all should, recognise. But it's something I'm working on. But at least in my mind, I know exactly what I said.
Yeah.
And there's that whole transmit versus receive thing that then goes on.
And you're expecting a particular like outcome, right? Because if that person does exactly what you asked, they're going to get a specific result. So it makes sense. I love military people. Like I had a big labour hire business at one stage, and we had a lot of mechanics, like diesel fitters and all sorts of stuff. Ex-military guys are the best, right? They don't whinge or complain. They turn up. They're reliable. They work in as part of a team. They don't typically cause any trouble. Like they're not lazy or entitled. Like big fan.
Yeah, mate. Thank you so much. I know everyone listening to that will really appreciate it. When did you? Because when you start a business, right, in your mindset, there's this book from Michael Gerber called The E-Myth, the entrepreneurial myth.
Yeah.
You think you're going to have more time and more freedom and more money. In the first few years, you have no time, no freedom, and a lot less money than what you think you're going to get. But eventually, you start to crack the code. When did you and Tan know that you're onto something really cool here, and you can start to expand and dominate? Like we've been 5.5 years now.
Yeah.
I'm shitting myself about the thought of even having a remote office somewhere.
Yeah.
It's very, very foreign to me. Everything's centralised here at Axon HQ. That's it. So to have offices around the country, as you sort of described there, mate, I'm in awe of you as a business owner that you've been able to do that and manage that. So I'd love to get your insights, because I'm sure there are other people listening right now that are already veteran business owners. They're like, oh, I think I should open up an office somewhere else.
Yep.
Well, what's that like?
Mate, so you're absolutely right. So when you do first start a business, you're everything to everyone. So you're the accounts team, you're the marketing team, you're the payroll person, you're the actual practitioner in the business. So what he refers to in the E-Myth is the person with the skill set that's paid, or the skill set that's valuable. Mm-hmm. And you basically just create yourself a job right at the start, because you've got no money. Typically, you go out there or you might have a little bit of seed money or whatever, but typically you go out there and you have to do what you had done as the technician, as he refers to generate income, to be able to do other things, because money makes the world go round.
Yep.
Right? If you have no rev coming in, you kind of
cash is the oxygen of a business.
100%.
No oxygen, no.
That's it. That's it. Simon Sinek says it. The fuel in the car, right? The car's the business, the revenue is the fuel. And honestly, mate, so we struggled for a couple of years, but we were really good at what we did. So we knew we had the skill set, and we kind of knew what we had to do, but then we kind of figured it out as we went. So it probably took us a couple of years to get some really, really good traction. We hired our first person at 3 years, who was a friend, and she was fantastic, right? But and this is, I think, a mistake he actually refers to in the book. You shouldn't hire your friends and family. It's just an absolute no-no. And anyone who's thinking about it, don't. Even though she was great, just don't do that. But cracking the code, I think, when we really started working on the business is probably when we had sort of 3 or 4 people, and we had, and I'm going to refer to it as passive income, but basically people that were bringing in money into the business so we could actually do other things.
You weren't directly related for. There was,
they could take
your time wasn't included in the revenue.
Correct. They could take workload off us and still generate revenue. Yeah, which is obviously the biggest problem you have when you start your business. Like you'll see people when they first start, the biggest thing that they obviously have is they haven't got enough hours in a day. They can't work any more than they're working. So that was a big break for us.
That's the whole thing. More time, more freedom. You got no time and no freedom because you're doing everything.
Pressure, right? So, and then when you hire your first person, you're like, oh, fuck, I have to pay this person every week. What if one of your clients doesn't pay you one of your invoices? Or what if you don't make any money for a couple of months? Like, what are you going to do? And recruitment's probably got a longer sales cycle than most businesses, because typically you have to find someone, they have to give 4 weeks notice, and they start work and obviously get paid. And unless you have a bit of a roll on with placements sort of happening in your sales cycle, it can be a long time between drinks.
Yep.
So there's lots of pressure.
Lumpy cash flow, is it called?
100%. Yeah. So there can be a lot of pressure that way. And then obviously people being sick, people being away, people unreliable, people not working out, hiring the wrong person. Like there's all these like things that you kind of get sort of hit with along the entrepreneurial journey.
But you know what, buddy? As we were saying downstairs, this is a life we signed up for. Like you, I'm not having a whinge about this.
No.
What we're doing, we're having a conversation about if you think about starting your own business one day, or you've got an idea and you've got a business and it's just you and maybe one other,
yep.
and you want to expand because you want to be able to provide more services to more people. When you get away from the tools, you run the risk of conversations occurring that you're not involved in. So therefore, customer and client happiness may not be the same, as explained in the book. And then obviously, then you need, as Simon Sinek says, you rightly say, then your job as a leader is to manage the people that were doing the job that you used to do.
And the biggest problem that most business owners have when they first start, and I'm sure you're gonna agree with me, when you go and hire your first person and then you try to sort of expand into different areas, your clients are going to want to work with you because they've worked with Robbie for a year, and all of a sudden they're like, who's this?
I've still got my clients from 5.5 years ago, and I proudly take them on because I fucking can and I want to.
But they'll ring you. They won't ring someone else in your team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's having someone that can really deliver the same service and quality that you do, so those clients feel comfortable with them. So, and that is, I think, the biggest part. I think a lot of business owners, they really sort of like hold on to those relationships, and they don't try to sort of farm them out to their teams.
Yeah. No, I've got to say,
easier said than done.
It's one thing I'm proud of myself of. I don't have any ego when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You bring people in, you train them. We don't have a script here in the business, but we've got an ethos and we've got a way and a culture that we sort of deliver our services. Train. Give them a few goes at talking to the client by themselves. Yep. Provide a bit of an after action review, and train some more, and then just let someone go live their life. Let them go. Let them be that person that you've trained them to be. They're not gonna be perfect. As am I. They're gonna make mistakes. As do I. Yep. So they're going to have wins and losses, as do I. And it's just all part of it, mate.
100%. And you know what? You kind of have to let them make those mistakes, because otherwise they'll become dependent on you. Oh, hey, Robbie, this has happened. What should I do? Hey, Robbie, this has happened. What should I do? Like, they need to go out there, have a little bit of prerogative, understand what you do in the model and how it works, and then go, okay, so this is what's happened in the past. This is what I need to do. Go do it. Oh, that's happened. How do I deliver that? Go deliver it. Oh, no, I stuffed that up. Didn't go well. Come back to you. Oh, hey, Robbie, I spoke to Pete and he was a little bit pissed off about X, Y, Z. And I did this. This is, hey, great, good. You absolutely did that perfectly. And then that person knows for next time. So I think a lot of bosses create dependency from their staff, and you kind of have to push them out and get them in the deep water a little bit sooner.
And I'm so proud of my team. There's been lots and lots of hard conversations with their property specialists, because builders have come back and said, hey, look, we're 30 grand short on this build. We need a client to contribute 10, 15, 20 grand. And a couple of years ago, I would have okay, I need to fucking have that conversation. Yeah. But now I'm like, righto, boys, go talk to them. Yeah, go talk, and they do it, and it turns out fine. I mean, that's some with the build support team, they're like, oh, I'm really concerned about talking to this because there was some flooding with someone else's backyard, and then they want compensation from the builder. I'm like, all right, let me engage at my level and sort of smooth things over, then go and deliver the news to the client. And they come out, they're like, he was awesome. Yeah. It was a really good activity. I'm glad I did it. I'm doing a very bad rendition of my girls, by the way, but like it's. I love the opportunity of giving them the responsibility and the power and the, I guess...
Just empowering them to do it.
Yeah, empowering them to do it. So thanks. That's what I was thinking of. And they love it.
That's a tough phone
and
call.
They grow from it.
That's a tough phone call. Yeah. Bringing someone, hey, you need to throw an extra 10, 20, 30 grand into this. Like, most people are, oh, I don't want to do that. So and it's such a great learning experience, because I feel like most people get so scared of what the possible outcome could be, rather than just doing it and seeing what the outcome is. It's always worse in your mind than it is in reality. Yeah.
One thing as a leader that you need to be able to let your people know is that you trust them, you empower them to do so, and if it doesn't go well, you still back them.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like, it's totally fine. Yeah. As long as they've conducted themselves with integrity and they've delivered the right message and they've done the very best they can. You're never going to have 100% success rate with anything. Just know that. I was a fucking perfectionist as an ex-special forces officer, but you quickly learn that in the big world, where there's so many other dynamics as part of the game, this crazy game called life that we're playing, that you are not in control of. You're going to get hit from left and right every now and then, and you just got to accept it, mate.
And the leaders should always sort of step in front of their people, right? So if someone's going to get spanked, it should always be the leader of the business. And
it's funny. We had someone recently who had a very, very poor building experience. The builder did a fucking terrible job, quite frankly. And then we got on a Zoom call with them just a few weeks ago, and they went this and this and this and this and this, and their two biggest gripes they had were with two people that aren't here anymore.
Yeah, right.
And it would have been easy for me to go, yeah, well, that's why they don't work here anymore.
No.
But you know what I said to them? I said, I wholeheartedly apologise. It is my responsibility. Every word that they have said, every email that they have sent is 100% my fault. And I'm so sorry that you've had that experience with us. All I can say is that, we're doing our best to fix things up, and we're going to do this going forward. Yep. Should have fucking seen the relief on their face. They actually sat back in their chairs and went, actually, we feel so much better about that now. Like, I was backed into a corner of indefensible. Like, I could have fought my way out of it and just looked like a dick. Yeah. But I was like, you are so right, and I'm so sorry.
And you know what? Any reasonably minded person is not going to sort of sit there and keep sticking it to you, right? Like, and they know that it's not your fault. Like, they know that you probably weren't that person writing those emails, making those phone calls, but you're taking responsibility for it.
Yeah, it's the best.
You're taking accountability, and they know that you're going to sort of it's been escalated, and you're sort of handling it, and you're probably going to do an even better job than you previously would have done. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised that they kind of were like, oh, great, this guy's going to sort it out for me.
Yeah, it's the best. So again, ladies and gents, if you're running your own business, or you want to run your own firm, embrace and look forward to, because they're going to happen anyway, hard conversations with suppliers, hard conversations with team members, hard conversations with, clients as well. And I hate doing it. I wish I'd never had to, but I know I'm going to have to. It won't be the last time, and I look forward to the next time already.
So I think that's when really good relationships are forged. So if someone has a bad experience and you are able to sort of meet them in that time and, you know, help them through that, you've got credibility, right? Because it's gone to shit and Robbie stepped up and helped them out of that situation. Like, I think really good relationships are usually forged in tough times, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about tough times, because you and Tanya went through some tough times recently. And you're like, oh shit, we're going to talk about this.
You need to be more specific.
Yeah, I will. You fired all of your team members, 12 months or so ago?
Yes.
Tell us about that. Yes. Like, listen to this story, ladies and gents. It is a fucking cracker. And I couldn't imagine having to do what you did. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I'm nowhere near. Daniel's like, what? But
mate, he's not one of mine. You can.
But certainly, I'm in admiration, and I'm very proud of what you guys did, and I understand the reasons for it all. We don't need to drag everyone down into it, but what you did and now where you've come out to is quite inspiring, mate. Listen to this, ladies and gents.
So, I suppose COVID kind of wrecked a lot of people. And when I say it wrecked them, I think that working from home, instability, you know, the market being tough, you know, the ScoMo jumping onto the TV every second day, I think it just created such instability with people sort of day to day. I think it changed a lot of people's personalities, and not for the better. So I think a lot of people during the work from home period, you know, the high performers typically got better and the low performers got really, really bad. So we realized that we had a very, very toxic culture, and it's hard, right? So, you know,
this is what, when everyone came back to work after COVID sort of thing?
Yeah, sort of during COVID, because COVID kind of went for a long time, like 2 years or whatever. So, you know, it was probably a little bit toxic beforehand, and I think COVID really brought it out. And, you know, Tanya and I were sort of sitting there one day, and we're like, we have all these people, and they're just like so entitled, and they're not contributing, and they've just got their sort of hands out. They want everything for nothing. And you know, even to the point where they weren't like engaging in, you know, that sort of stuff that made the business special. And I was like, oh, Tan, I think we need to fix this culture, right? And she goes, oh, how? How can we fix it? I said, I don't think we can. I said, I think we have to start again.
Like fix.
Like fix, like start again. And we discussed this over about 3 days. And the argument or the debate was, do we get rid of the people that we feel are the primary you know, issues? Or, my side, do we clear the slate and start again? And my argument to her was that anyone who is left in the business, who we may oversee as being good but may not be, is going to like taint new people that come through. So that toxic culture will just infect other people in the business, and the problem won't actually go away. I was like, but if we clear the whole team out, and we're talking like 10 people out of a 15 people team, or no, 11 or 12 people out of a 15 people team, because there were only 3 of us left at one stage. You know, there's that whole scary, you know, all of a sudden you've 75% of your workforce or 80% of your workforce is gone. We have to hire new people. They're going to have a learning period. You know, revenue is going to go down, but obviously payroll will go down. You know, do we kind of just do it and get it done, like one hard chop, or do we kind of see how we go? And I kind of made a decision, and she kind of agreed with me that we're just going to clean house. So,
wow.
Yeah, and I'm talking. It was probably one of the most stressful times in my professional career. Get to work, and we knew everyone in that office was pretty much going to be gone. So,
could I just butt in for a second?
Yeah,
just in case any of those people that were there get to listen to this on the very off chance.
Yep.
I've spoken to you about this on many occasions, and you are not gloating. You are not fucking, you're like, this is the best thing we've ever done, and it was really fun.
No,
I want to make that very clear. Horrible.
Like, you know, some people we had there for 2-3 years, you know, put a lot of time and money and investment and befriended. And, you know, it's a really sad realization when you're like, fuck, like, how has this happened? Like, I don't know what I did wrong to make this play out the way it has. Like, what have we done wrong?
Because ultimately we are, as the leaders, we're responsible for the culture.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's gone gone south underneath our leadership,
100%.
underneath our nose.
Which is ultimate failure, right? So anyway, we sort of sat down with everyone and individually I kind of let people go and the ones that we decided not to let go, some of we put on performance management and they self-selected out, which is kind of an indication that they were going to go anyway. And literally started again. So when we started again, we had a whole different hiring strategy. We went for a different type of person with different type of background. We really hired for attitude and, not so much capability, but just like willingness and attitude and buy-in and all that sort of stuff that makes a company special, right? Which is what people should have. And it probably took, like 2 months for it to kind of level out because it was pretty tumultuous for those couple of months, right? Like it was fucking full on.
So you guys would have had all these jobs on the go.
Yeah, mate.
Over it's like, let's say 1 week period, none of the people are there. Mate, you, Tan, and one other are looking at each other and go, holy shit, we're back to the start again.
Mate, we're sitting in a 20-person office and there's 3 of us in it. And we're like, this is fucking insane. But, it all worked out, right? So what we did is we realized our mistakes and we hired a different type of person and we looked for different values and different ethics and different outlook, I suppose. We don't really, when it comes to like age and demographic, it's pretty varied. So we don't really have a particular age or demographic that we sort of shoot for. It's more about attitude. Anyway, we hired all those people. We put some different processes in place with regards to like training and structure and all that sort of thing. And then, probably took 3 months to level out. And funnily enough, when we were just sort of hitting our straps and everything was working, all these other companies like, oh mate, we fired like 10 people, we fired 5 people, we just had 7 people quit, great resignation type scenario. Yeah. So I think every business has probably had a bit of a clean out over the last couple of years. I'd say as a general, like people are sort of getting rid of sort of 5%, or when I say getting rid of, I mean either fired or had resigned. And I think most businesses have just kind of shaken them out and usually you're better for it.
Yeah. Let me be very transparent, ladies and gents. No doubt, if you've been following us for a while, our team photos and our social media stuff, there's a few faces missing. But guess what? There's a few new faces in. And I don't know about you, but I love the new vibe. I love the new ideas. I love the new attitude. There are people that are grateful to be here. There's no sense of entitlement anymore. And it's just fucking great. The last few months for us has been shit. Like the first 6 months of this year has been tumultuous because every time someone doesn't want to work here anymore, I take it to heart. I'm like, they're not leaving the business, they're leaving me.
But how reinvigorating for you.
Oh, amazing.
When a new person comes in and like, oh, Robbie, this is so great. I totally get what you're doing here. And you're like, that's why I do it.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's why I do it, So I get it. I feel your pain. I'm the same, right? There's a couple of people that left that really sort of hurt. I was like, I befriended you, came to my house. Our kids played together.
Right,
I spent a lot of time and effort and did all these sort of things outside of work for you that an employee wouldn't normally do, right? So I feel your pain.
Yeah, mate, it's good for the soul. And again, sorry to harp on it, ladies and gents, but if you want to be a business owner one day, you don't want it to happen. And we went through a period for the first 3.5 years or so where no one left. I used to go down and have high-level business coaching down in Sydney, and people would stand up and go, fucking HR and this and bloody people management this. I'm sitting back going, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Our people are our greatest strength and everyone's great and everyone's, doing awesome. And then, some of the dynamics in the market just sort of, turn. And I think Elon Musk said recently, I apologise, Elon, I know you're listening, that if I've misquoted you here.
Isn't he waiting in the green room?
Yes, mate, he's my next guest. Yeah. He's got big shoes to fill. Yeah, he sort of said that if you want to work from home, a lot, you can go and pretend to work with someone else. I don't fucking have this office to have it sit bloody empty, as a lot of other big corporations do, no doubt. The majority of the time.
But it's a team environment, right? Like feed off each other. People, someone's having a bad day, they've fought with their partner, whatever it is, they come into the office, you're bouncing around like an Energizer bunny, like pumping people up, and you kind of buy into the vibe and it kind of lifts their mood.
Yeah.
It's nice to, I'm a salesperson, right? So I enjoy high energy, high performing teams. It's what I love. If I was working by myself at home, which I have done when I started the business, you're by yourself, you kind of, if you're getting like negative event after negative event, and that might be something as bad as a sales call that doesn't go the way you think it has gone, or you don't get a job order, whatever it may be, you've got other people to lift you up. If you're sitting there by yourself in your little cesspool of despair, it's hard to pull yourself out unless you've got that mental capacity to be able to sort of move on.
I remember when Tam and I used to run the business way back in the day. Dan, you wouldn't even know the story. She'd be like, all right, we've got these videos to shoot this afternoon. And I'd go into the kitchen and we have a squirrel about something. Yeah. And I'd just like walk back to the office with my tail between my legs, and I'm like, I'm not fucking shooting these videos. Yeah. I'm like, fuck the videos. You've killed my vibe. I don't and I had no one else to pull me up. Yeah. So it's absolutely right. Leadership is lonely, but when you're when you're working from home and then you're working at home with your partner, it sort of adds another layer of complexity to it.
Oh, 100%. But there's no change of environment, right? Like, when you walk up those stairs in the morning, you push the button on the elevator, game face is on. Yeah. So you walk into the office and you're like, Robbie Turner's here. I'm ready to go. Let's fucking do this.
I don't think anyone thinks that. Daniel's like, yes, they do.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if you're at home, you're literally walking from one room to another room, and it's not. There's no separation. There's no separation for us anyway, right? As business owners, but like as someone who works in a business, I feel like there needs to be a point where you kind of go, okay, work's done, family time.
Yeah, it's hard to separate that, especially when you've got a husband and wife team. Like Tam's really good at switching off. Yeah. At night time, if I've got something about the business I want to ask her about, I'm like, and I've been very poor at this in the past. This is why we've got a new little procedure in place, being about a year or so. Yeah. Hey, babe, can I ask you a work question? I ask permission to get inside of her head and her heart to say, can I ask you something about work? And if she says no, I've just got to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, see, Tanya just shuts me down. She's like, I don't want to talk about work.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much.
I'm like, but I need to get this out.
But you know what? Interestingly, she'll come back 10 minutes later. She's like, what do you want? All right. It's pretty cool as far as that goes. But mate, I love being a business owner, as I'm sure you do. Like, when you do crack the code, you do get more time. You do get more freedom. You do have a couple of dollars in the bank. But by fuck, it comes at that the risk taker, the entrepreneur. If you get it wrong, you and I shared downstairs that both of us in separate times of our life have been staring at the ceiling going, fuck, if this doesn't happen in the next few weeks, we don't have any money.
We're gone. Yeah.
And as an employee, you'll never feel that feeling.
Mate,
know that for a fact.
I feel like as a business owner, your job is to protect your employees as well. So, as you said, like money, financial problems, all that sort of stuff, getting enough clients in the door, making sure, the lights are on, making sure you got money for wages. Like I was telling you about a company. So we used to do a lot of work for Downer Mining, and we pay our staff weekly, as you sort of have to. And being the trades and labor guys, and they paid us sort of 30 days from end of month of invoicing. So 60 days. Yeah. And, you're paying your guys every sort of week for 8 weeks, and they were sort of 4 weeks late. Tan and I were sort of sitting down having crisis meetings. We're like, Tan, we've literally got like 4 days left worth of money.
Wow.
Or we're done. And, that's why I have all these grey hairs, man. But you know what I mean? Like, people, like our staff never would have known.
Correct.
They never would have had no idea. And not because we were being secretive, but because that's my stress and her stress. And that's when you wear that leader hat, that's your job to deal with that, right? Like, you have to look after the troops, you have to make sure they can do what they do with clear heads, and you don't transfer stress through to your staff, right?
Yeah.
But obviously you get the rewards as well, but I just think that a lot of people, when they work for someone, they think that they can do the job because they may be very good at their particular job that they do, which is the technician that Emir talks about. But when they actually go out on their own, there's so many other things that are involved in running a business that you don't even think about, right? And you kind of have to learn them on the fly, and you have to sort of worry about the money coming through, and then it's just it's a very difficult learn on the job, I suppose, initially. And if you don't know exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, you don't have a plan, you don't back yourself, you don't have some absolutely off the chart resilience, probably going to struggle.
Yep.
So I have so much respect for entrepreneurs and all the bullshit that you have to deal with, from employee problems, like cash flow problems, like global financial crisis, like we got
client problems, everything, mate. You fucking name it.
Global epidemics, like all that, you name it, throw it at them, right? And everyone's had to take it in their stride. And hopefully look after all their people along the way.
Yeah. Mate, how can people let's talk about you for a second for the last 5 minutes. hopefully, ladies and gents, there's a few of you there that have now got some more clarity around improving your current business. Or if you are going to get out of the military, or you're already out and you're thinking about starting your own business, here's a couple of pitfalls and or things that you may or may not have thought of. And you're getting it raw and real. You know, Pete, you've been a great guest so far. But if you're also someone who wants a job and you're on Seek and you're putting in all these bloody resumes or whatever and you're getting no traction, how can you help those people?
I think the first thing they need to do is probably do an assessment of their skill set. So, if you're, a mechanic in the military, think about what you can do, where you've done it, how you've done it, and then maybe look at civvie jobs. So, transferable skill sets. I think a lot of it is really sort of common sense point and shoot stuff. But, like as I said before, I love military people, like logistics people. Like logistics is probably one of the most booming industries at the moment, like supply chain issues, all sort of stuff. You got all your trades people, which are transferable skill sets. I think you just have to understand your skill set. And I think a lot of people from the military probably don't realize the value of what they've been taught over a lifetime or a period of time with the military. They probably don't understand how to monetize that skill set. And I think that if you first assess that, maybe even if it's like a list of what you do day to day or week to week or whatever it may be, and then kind of look at what the civil correlation is between, what you do and what that looks like in the private sector. And then there's obviously companies you can talk to. So a bit of a shameless plug for...
please do, mate. Yeah.
So there's obviously Place Me, which is a company that Tanya is a director of, and it's all about sort of re-entry to the workforce and all sort of stuff. So, they can write a proper resume for you, because realistically resume is your foot in the door. They can create you a LinkedIn profile. They can create you cover letters that are, really going to sort of get people looking at what you can do and maybe investigating your skill set a little bit further. And
just let me assure you, when we had 50 odd people apply for an office manager, the effort that you put into your cover picture, your cover letter, and even having a photo on there, yes or no, and like the first few sentences of your summary goes a fucking long way. I discarded countless ones. I'm like, nope, boring, fucking see you later.
And you know what? You might have the best skill set in the world, but you've got poor formatting on your resume, because people look for certain things. Like, I think there was some Seek statistic. I think people spend like 3 or 4 seconds on the first page.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I've lived it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you've gone to someone who actually knows how to do that, and obviously as recruiters, we know how to do that, and that's what Place Me sort of comes in. We can give you the best possible, opportunity to sort of be noticed. And then obviously when it sort of delves in a bit deeper, really unpacking those skill sets and how they transfer over. Obviously, you can see recruiters. Recruiters are great, hopefully you get a good one that calls you back and talks to you and all sort of stuff. Some of us are horrible, but most of us are pretty good. I'm a big fan in ringing a recruiter. If you see an ad on Seek or whatever it may be, give them a call. Say, hey, this is what I do. What are your thoughts on me applying? Typically, they'll sort of give you, hopefully, some quick coaching on the phone, 30-second phone call. And obviously, you can apply for roles that way. But, mate, recruiters are usually pretty good, because they can actually identify your skill set and then maybe say, hey, Robbie, these are your options based on what you can do. What do you want to do? At least give you some.
And then your job is to go and find them a job.
That's it. And it doesn't cost you anything. As the candidate or the job seeker, you pay nothing. So it's free.
It's a no-brainer, ladies and gents. If you don't have a job right now, reach out to these guys. Daniel, no doubt, will place the contact details for Pete and Tanya, quite frankly. Again, we've spoken about her a lot. Tanya, hello again when you're listening to this, no doubt. She's already sending us messages going, how's it all going?
Probably. Yeah. But yeah, mate, it's not hard, right? So I think especially you have such a good demographic of people with such good skill sets. I think it's just understanding what they can do and how it transfers into private life after defence. This is real-time, pragmatic, actual guidance and advice team that you don't get on some bullshit transition seminar. These are the people like Pete and people like you in the industry can actually give a shit about finding people. Like, it's your business runs on your ability to find them a job. 100%. And there's nothing like skin in the game, mate. There's no interest like self-interest. 100%. And that's the thing, right? Like, I'm not some life coach up here telling you sort of to jump up and down and, to think positive thoughts and all sort of stuff. I'm telling you, like, come and speak to me and I'll find you a job, because that's literally what I do. Love it. Pete, thanks so much for joining us, mate. I've absolutely loved this chat. It's been a few months in the making, I know, but ladies and gents, if you've enjoyed this session here, just reach out to Pete. Thanks so much for joining us on Axons Unleashed. We'll catch up with you again soon. Awesome. Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, mate. Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.